Hi everybody, so today I'm going to go through how to get your wheels race ready. So, we have a brand new fast forward F4. So it's a full carbon clincher rim and we're going to do the rear wheel today. Okay, so what you need is down here and okay, so we've got everything you need for setup. First things first, I like to cut off the little orange tag that comes with the wheel. Just be super careful. All right, trash. And the next thing is I take off the little stickers. Sometimes there's some stickers on the inside of the rim. You don't have to. I just like to do it. There's only 2 of them here. Okay. I like to use the carbon clinchers because it's easier for crits and they're still really light and these wheels are super stiff. But if I'm traveling and doing like a crit series, then if I get a flat on the first day, I don't have to take stuff to glue with me. I can just change it out like I would any other flat. So then you're going to get a clean rag or cloth or something and get alcohol, put it on the rag just a little bit, and then we're just going to wipe down the inside of the rim. Okay, so right here, oh, I missed one of the stickers. Again, no big deal, you can leave them in. But the reason that we're just wiping it down is to get a clean surface to put the rim tape on, and also that any debris that could get on the rim from like factory or shipping or anything like that, we're just getting that all clean so that you have a good secure adhesion for your base tape. All right, then you want to let that dry for a few seconds. So we're just going to set that guy down and put our little clean cloth aside. And one of the cool things is that all of the fast forward bags come with everything you need on the inside in a little zipper pocket. So you've got your skewer, you've got your base tape, your carbon brake pads, which are important because you don't want to use brake pads that you used on an aluminum rim on carbon because the aluminum filaments can get caught in your brake block and then scratch the carbon. They also have these little adapters to make the rims tubeless. I've never done that, but they're there if you use them. All right, so we've got our rim tape, which is this one. You can obviously, I like to use the rim tape that Fast Forward gives you. And the reasoning behind this, I actually learned last year, is before this, I used Velox because it's a thicker cloth rim tape. But actually the height of the rim tape, if you use the cloth, makes it too high that you risk not having your tire set into the beading or the rim. So not the best idea. So use what they give you. It's there for a reason. All right, you want to start just to the right of the valve hole, anchor it down with one finger and pull as you go. And try and make it sit right in the middle of the rim. So if you can see what I'm doing, I'm pushing it down, pull, and just set it right in so it's even, okay? Perfect, and kind of just running my left thumb along behind it to kind of set it into the rim. Okay. And so going, just going all the way around. The whole reason that you want to make sure the rim tape is on firmly is because it's your base. So it keeps everything in the rim. You don't want to make sure there's no bubbles. Don't rush through this. Okay. Alrighty. All right. Cool. Okay, now we made it all the way back around to the start. So we're just gonna go a little bit overlapped of the tape of where we started, and snip. Okay, fast forward always gives you plenty of extra, so I like to keep it just in case, but to be honest, I've never really had to use it. It was a little crooked at the start, so I'm just gonna relay that. There we go. Perfect. It's nice and smooth. Okay, now I'm gonna go back over and run my finger along so you can see how it's, maybe you can see, it's kind of bubbly in the middle here because when we pulled, it stretched it out so there was no wrinkles. And then when you run your finger along it, it sets into the carbon. Okay, so we want to get rid of all of those bubbles. All right, so we're just gonna run that right along. Cool, still going. All right, and then I'm gonna do the same thing, but in the recessed part. So where the, I guess it would call the beading, where that goes, where the tire will hopefully set into. So I'm just pressing it down on the left side first, doesn't really matter what side you do first, and then I'm gonna go back around on the right side. Okay. Again, just making sure if you see any bubbles along the way, press them flat. Cool. All right. And you can always use, they have these little stickers, break below this line on all the new fast forwards, and they're always right over the valve. So you can use that as your start and end place so you don't lose track. Okay, then we're just going to use the scissors or a small poking device, and we're gonna find where the valve is, right here, and go up and poke through the base tape at that hole. Just a little bit so it goes through the tape. Okay, perfect. All right, cool. That one's good. And then, let me put this away. Next step would be pick your tire. All right, so I use the Vittoria Corsas. I've had great luck with them, knock on wood, for all the crit races. So I like them, I use the 23s. And so we're just gonna start. I always put, I think most of the old school people do as well, the label right over the valve. And that's helpful for a couple reasons. So while I get the one side on, I'll tell you why. If you ever get a flat and you take the tire off and then you wanna find where the flat is, and say there's like a piece of glass or something over here, you wanna make sure it didn't go through the base tape or the tube at that site too. Or maybe if you can't find the site of the puncture, if it's the nipple coming up through the rim and through the base tape, which you wouldn't have on these because they're recessed, but on a training tire, then you could find the site of the flat by lining the tire up because you know this is going to go at the valve. Also, it makes it easy just to find the valve to pump up because it's right where the label is. Okay, next step, grab your tube. I use 60 mil tubes for these and find they work great. Obviously you could use longer, but sometimes then you get like the rattly noise because you get the valve going back and forth in there. Again, they work just as well, no big deal. Okay, so I'm gonna put this in just like I'm changing any other flat or tire. Just work it around. Sometimes the new ones can be finicky. But this is actually going all right. Okay, make sure whenever you change a flat or anything that you push the tube up into the rim before you put the tire on so that you don't get a pinch flat and pinch the tube under the tire. You'll know if you do when you inflate it. You'll get a nice big pop. Not to be confused with the popping that the tire makes when it settles into the rim. That's totally different. But you'll figure out the difference real quick, because if you get a flat, then you'll know that it was pinched. Okay, which is why you always do all of this and pump it up before race day. You don't want to be doing this the morning of a race and you got panic when you don't need it. Okay, so then I like to just pull the tire up, just make sure that it's kind of centered and that I didn't pinch anything inadvertently. Okay, looks good. Looks good. All right, doing great. Cool. Now we're gonna pump it up. Alrighty. I'll pump it up all the way first, to all the way being whatever my race pressure is. We're good to go. All right. So if this was a front wheel, you'd be done. Just put a skewer in and you're good to go. But it's a rear wheel, so we need some gears. All right. Pop these little guys off. They're just good for shipping. Sometimes I save them just in case you take the skewers out and you travel with the bike. Then these are good just to kind of protect it. You don't really have to. All right. Then we've got a little bit of grease. Okay. Just going to put it on where the cassette goes. All right, so depending on your cassette, if you have a 10-speed cassette, these are 11-speed wheels. So if you have a 10-speed cassette, you're gonna need to put a spacer in first, because it's gonna need to take up the slack of the height that other gear otherwise would have had on an 11-speed. Okay. Oh, this is really hard to get out. Come on. Okay, just a little bit. It seems like I'm putting a lot on, but there's nothing coming out of the tube. I should have cut the opening a little bit bigger, but it's all good. Okay, so that's good. And then we grab our cassette, which we've got a SRAM 11-speed. This, I like to zip tie them all together so you keep the order when you're reusing them. Okay. Obviously you want to clean them all beforehand, which I've done. Wipe off all the cogs, right? And then we get to start putting them on the rim. So these little grooves here are all different sizes, and you can see there's one bigger gap, which is obviously going to align with the bigger puzzle piece on the cassette. All right, so you're going to drop that in, then a spacer. Drop this guy in. If you ever get confused, you're obviously working from largest to smallest here in terms of height. So, just gonna throw these on, and all of the numbers should be readable from the outside. So it'll say what tooth it is, like 16T. So that's a 16 tooth one. I'm putting on a Sprinter cassette. So I believe it only goes up to 28 is the largest cog. Okay. And then it goes down to an 11 is the smallest one. Alrighty. Almost done. Alright. Now this one is the 11. Alright, that's very good. And then, oh this top cap here is what goes on top. I'm just gonna clean it off real quick, make sure that there's no residual, because the threading is important, that it seats well. And these are really easy to cross thread if you're not paying attention or you're in a hurry. So just make sure it's all clean. And then we're gonna add some new grease to it. Just the same stuff, it's just the Fillwood stuff. Or, oh, no, this is Park Tool, sorry, that I just used. Anyone will be fine. I had Fillwood in the past. All right, that's more than enough. Just need a little bit of grease on the threads themselves. That was overkill, so I'll wipe that off. All right, then this is the fun part. Make sure that it's level so that you can tell if it's being cross-threaded. Make sure that your top cog is set correctly. And then we're going to lightly twist this into place. Okay, so you twist that into place, and then you use one of these tools to put in the top, and you're gonna rotate righty-tighty. So clockwise until it's snug. You don't need to crank on it. You know, it should be good. You just don't want wiggle room in the cassette, all right? So tighten it down. And then, see, no wiggle room. That's good. Last thing is a skewer. So all the fast forward bags come with the skewers in the middle pocket. So just take that out, rip it open, and then the lever goes on the non-drive side. So this one over here, okay? Unscrew this, and then you should have one spring on one side, one spring on the other. Thread it through the middle, and then secure it here. And you're good to go. Cool. All right, obviously then just put it in your bike. Make sure you put the carbon brake pads on. Fast Forward gives you them in the bag as well. And you're good to go. Happy racing.